Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Do you want to play Sims with your FPV remote, like this one, or maybe your Tango 2, your TBS Mambo, but you just don't like wires? Well, it's nice with ExpressLRS because you can do Bluetooth, but at least in my experience, the implementation of Bluetooth in a Sim is not very good. Very laggy. Seems like I lose a lot of data. It might be me. It might be the system. I'm not really sure. I've tried it with my PC that I'm using right now, and I've tried it with a laptop. And in both cases, it becomes very, very difficult to fly because it just seems like I'm losing data. Almost like fail-saving. Like, it reminds me of flying D16 on an SPI receiver with an FR radio. Just almost like your sticks aren't working. Fine, when I move the sticks very quickly, the computer doesn't really register that it happens. So you're kind of stuck with having a wired connection to the computer. But what if you still wanted to do wireless? FRSky had made a RXSR-based kind of wireless receiver dongle, so you could use your radio wirelessly. Well, my friend HouseFPV has come up with a solution, and he has two different versions. One runs a Raspberry Pi Pico, and is about that big. And he has another one that's running a Raspberry Pi Tiny 2040, and this thing is tiny. The little Tiny 24 board is super small, and the Raspberry Pico is quite a bit larger, but it's a bit cheaper too. So this little wireless adapter is going to run you anywhere from $20 to $25 for the parts, plus a receiver of your flavor, either be Tracer, Crossfire, ExpressLRS, whatever you want to use. He's come up with a PCB design. You can find it all on GitHub. The link to the GitHub will be in the video description. He's designed it to run with like the Happy Model EP2s, the one with the little ceramic antenna, all the way up to the full-size ExpressLRS and Crossfire receivers. It's a very simple project. Let's go over to the bench and I'll show you how to build one. So right off the bat, some of the things you're going to need is a PCB. There are two different PCBs for this project, and you can find these on his GitHub. This is for the Pico Pi, and this one is for the Tiny 2040. Obviously, you can see that that one is much smaller. This one is also a bit more expensive to build. So you're going to need a PCB. You're going to need one of these level shifters. You'll find a link to this stuff in the video description. You're going to need one of these. You're going to need either a Tiny 2040 or a Raspberry Pi Pico board. These are much cheaper than these. They're both pretty inexpensive as it is. I found this one in stock at a Micro Center, and this one I think I got from Pi Maroni. Again, links will be in the video description. You need a bunch of pin headers. These can be bought a dime a dozen, actually more like a dime for 100 of them, off of Amazon. And you're going to need a receiver. I'm just going to use a Happy Model EP2 receiver, the one with the little ceramic antenna. You're going to need a couple 3D prints. Again, the prints can be found on HouseFPV's GitHub. These are for spacing the Raspberry Pi board off of the PCB. And then you're going to need a case. Obviously, if you're doing the 2040, you'll need the small case. And if you're going to do the larger Pi-Pico, then you're going to need the larger case. And that's it. A little bit of soldering and a little bit of clipping with some side cutters, and we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and build up the Pi-Pico one first. So the Pi-Pico, we're going to first have to solder the level shifter on here. So if you're looking at the level shifter, you're going to see two rows of pins. What we're looking for is the one that says HV and the one that says LV. The one that says HV is going to go facing up, like so. Kind of like that. We're going to take a row of pins. These should come with the level shifter. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to stick them inside the board between the level shifter and the house PCB. We should have just a little bit sticking out the backside here. You can see it's pretty flush. And we're just going to go ahead and solder in like that. We're going to try to keep this as low profile as possible. It's going to help us keep a nice a nice look when we're done. We're trying to minimize the amount of solder on the back side of this PCB. So, get your soldering iron out, some solder, and just a little bit will do it. All right, now that we got that side up, we can see we have a really nice low profile on the back side of this thing. Even these little nubs here, I'm just going to take my side cutters and kind of trim them off of there. We're going to come back up to the top of the board, and I'm going to just peel these off of here. We're just basically using those to put pressure on the level shifter while we soldered it. They just pull off pretty easily. There we go. And same for the other side. Now all we gotta do is go through and solder these pins. There we go. We got all our pins soldered up. Now we're just gonna go and snip these nice and flush. Now we need to do our pins for our Raspberry Pi Pico board. The USB port is going to come out of this side here, like this. This side is where your receivers are going to solder up. So again, we're going to take our pins. We're going to cut out a section that fits like that, and then you're going to take them over to something hard like a cutting board or something like that, and you're going to end up pushing down on the black part until you get the pins to be flush with the backside here. Just kind of like what we did for the level shifter. And once you got that, go ahead and start soldering away. I need more solder. There we go. Got all our pins installed. Go ahead and drop your Pi-Pico on here. And you can do this one of two ways. You can pull all these little black spacers off if you want. I don't know if I would if it were me. But what you're going to do is take these little printed spacers. I designed them so you could put them over the pins if you were to take the black spacers out, or you can just kind of set them in place if you're not going to do that. And all this is going to do is just set your height for your Raspberry Pi. All right, now we got our Pi-Pico in place. Same things before, rinse, repeat. Go ahead and solder it up. And that's that. And go ahead and pull these out. We will not be needing those for that. All right, now at this point, you need to decide which receiver you're going to put in there. If you're going to put in a Crossfire, a Tracer, an EP, a full-size ExpressLRS receiver, you got to pick the one you want. I'm going to go with the EP2. HouseFPV has designed this PCB so you could put the receiver on either side. And the way you want to do this is you want to figure out where your boot pads are on your receiver. In case you happen to accidentally brick the receiver, you can still get to the pads without desoldering it. The EP2, in this case, the boot pads are on the opposite side of the antenna. So this is going to get installed on this side of the PCB. If I was going to do this with a full-size receiver, like this one here from Beta FPV, the boot button is on this side of the board, opposite of the antenna. So this one would end up getting installed like this, so I could still access that button. Now, as far as the antenna goes, all you're going to do is just take it and kind of tuck it up inside the enclosure. There's going to be plenty of space. Wouldn't worry about it. And then I think Crossfire is the other way around. So ground is here and your bind button is on the same side as your antenna. So it would go on this side. Or Tracer as well, I believe. If you're doing this, you're probably going to be wanting to do this with an EP receiver, probably the EP2 from Heavy Model, because it is about the smallest and usually the least expensive ExpressLRS receiver that you can get a hold of. So just like before, we're going to take our row of pins here. We're going to clip off 4 of them. So we need power, ground, receiver, and transmitter. take our board. We're going to pop that sucker in there. I got one that got soldered a little bit. That's all right. We'll deal with that here in a minute. Just kind of push it in. And then we're going to go against a hard surface to kind of make those flush with the bottom here. Like so. And we'll go ahead and hit them with some solder. All right, we got our pins in place. With this one, I do suggest pulling these off, or at least moving them up to right about there. Or you can use the spacers, either way. You could pull the black spacers off and put these in here so you get the right height. Or you can just pull these up to the point where your receiver is going to be flush with your Pico Pi. We're going to line our receiver up, just solder it in place. You may want to just get a little bit of solder on your soldering iron to kind of tack it in place, just to hold it for you. I wouldn't start on this pad because that's the ground pad. That's going to take the most amount of heat to get to stick. And that's it. We put our soldering iron. Okay, and now just go over to the trash can and go ahead and clip all these pins nice and flush. All right, now that we got all our pins nice and trimmed and flush, let's go ahead and flash the firmware to it. Well, it's not really firmware, but it is software that we got flashed to it. So we're gonna go to the GitHub repository for this project. We're gonna come up to the top of the repository, we're gonna go to code, and we're gonna do download zip. Go to CRSF joystick. And you're going to need to install the Arduino IDE. If you don't have it, you can go to Arduino. Go to arduino.cc and download the Arduino IDE, or you can go to the Microsoft Play Store and download it there. Go ahead and install that. Once you have it installed, come over here and double click the CRSF joystick. Okay, once you have that open, come over to Tools. Go over to Board and go to Boards Manager. And we're going to come down here and install the Arduino Embed OS RP2040 boards. Come down here, select the latest version, and go ahead and hit install. All right, once you have that installed, come over here to go to File, go to Preferences. And if you're a sketchbook location, hit browse, find that location where you extracted the repository that you downloaded from GitHub, and drill down until you get down to sketchbook, and hit open. And hit OK. Next, we're going to go to Tools. We're going to go to Board. We're going to go to Arduino. We're going to go to Arduino Embed OS RP2040 boards and Raspberry Pi Pico. Now go ahead and connect your Pico Pi to your computer. Make sure you hold down the boot button when you do it. Go up to the toolbar and hit the upload button. It's a little arrow point to the right. See down here, it's going to say compiling sketch. This may take a few minutes. And there you go. Your Pi is updated. Now we need to update the ExpressLRS receiver. Just like we normally do. It's already in Wi-Fi updating mode. You can see it's doing the blickety-blink thing down there. The only part of the process I forgot to record was how to install it in the case. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You put it in the case and you take your soldering iron and you just melt over the little pins that stick through the hole in the PCB and glue the top on, or just use friction fit. All right, the process of building the joystick controller with the 2040 Pi is the exact same process, same software and everything, same spacers, different 3D printed case, but the level shifter does get rotated a different direction. Just make sure you're tracing the 5 volt on your board or the high volt on the level shifter. Other than that, it's exactly the same. All right, we're gonna fly this on Bluetooth. This is a miserable experience for me. We'll see how we can do. I've been flying this track a lot, so I've got it pretty well memorized. It's like having micro fail safes. Like half the data on quick stick controls don't do anything. Oh my god, this is awful. It truly is this bad to fly. Alright, brain's starting to compensate for it a little bit. Oh my god, this is awful. Oh, it's so hard to fly. It's like, oh my god, it's so bad. Alright. Watch, alright. So I'm just gonna take the sticks and I'm gonna tick the roll back and forth, like full left, full right. Watch my stick on the screen. Like it skips a bunch here and there. See, it'll skip and then it'll just stick. It'll go like here. I'll do it real slow. It's like I'm going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then it'll just stick and then. Oh, it's so hard to fly. All right, let's try flying with the HouseFPV ELRS gamepad adapter thing. Just over USB-C, connect the sky up, turn the radio on. Full bars, ready to rock. I already have it set up in Velocidrone, so let's just get at her. Doesn't account for the human factor, obviously. There's already a night and day difference. It's just smooth. I know that term means nothing, but the sticks feel accurate. Like I can make quick corrections and it actually like captures my stick input, which it certainly wasn't before. Doesn't help me not suck, but I don't know if that's a bug with ExpressLRS or if it's just a limitation of Bluetooth. So let's try that over Bluetooth, or over wired. All right. This is wired.
Pilots, arm your quads as we go live on the tone in less than 5.
Show it right down my lap times. Go back and check the video. This does feel pretty good too. I don't know if it's better than the ELRS adapter. I assume it's better just because it's a direct connection. Well, there you go. You see my dilemma with Bluetooth on ExpressLRS. Like, it's nice to have the option, but it is so absolutely miserable to fly. Like, it's frustrating. It's mentally exhausting trying to stay ahead of it because it's just missing. It's like it's missing packets. It's like it's missing data. This reminds me of flying an SPI receiver on FrSky on D16 and just having micro fail-safes all the time. That's exactly what it feels like. There was one time where I was flying and I did have like fail-safes where it just stopped. It maybe I have poor line of sight with Bluetooth. My computer, my computer's 5 feet from me. Everything else I have Bluetooth, works just fine. maybe I'm too far away. If that's the case, then like I gotta be right on top of my computer. I don't think so. I have tried with my laptop. It's the same story. It's just like I'm missing information. It's slow. Not only is it slow, but it's like you're missing half the data from your controls. I don't like having wires. I don't like having lanyards, hence the radio grips, tweetfpv.com, by the way, if you want to get hold of radio grips, or racedayquads.com. Shameful plug. This strikes a great balance. The House FPV, the House FPV wireless adapter, it's probably not as fast as being wired. It is 100 times better than going over Bluetooth, and it's a pretty fun little project. If you want more information on this, click the link in the video description to HouseFPV's GitHub. That'll get you all the information on how to build this up, or it'll give you all the information of the parts you need and links to the parts to build this up. And if you have any questions or you need any help with it, let me know, let House know, and I'm sure we'll be able to get you going in the right direction. What do you guys think of this? Do you think this is a worthwhile thing? Do you think this is a waste of time and money? Would you just say, screw it, plug in a cable all the time? Or do you want this? I mean, you still kind of have to plug it in, but you're wireless. You have freedom to move around. You're not limited to being within a cable's length of your computer. Like you can go as far away as you would normally go between your quad and your receiver and still have essentially the same connection. I don't know how practical that is, but I really do like this. This is kind of a cool project. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, folks, stay positive. I'll see you next time. And just, ExpressLRS devs, if you have any insight into this, let me know. I would, something. All right. See you next time.